It is August 19th, 1953. Tehran. The CIA launches Operation Ajax. Their target is a democratically elected prime minister who made one fatal mistake. He wanted Iran to control Iran's oil. Fast forward 70 years, and the same playbook is running. Different names, same game. This is the story they don't teach you in school. Let us start at the beginning. 1901. The Persian Empire, what we now call Iran, is drowning in debt. Mozaffar ad-Din Shah Qajar, desperate for cash, signs a deal with British businessman William Knox D'Arcy. The concession covers 480,000 square miles of Iranian territory for 60 years. The price is just £20,000 up front and 16% of profits. Iran does not even have the right to audit the books. The British government knew exactly what they had. In 1909, they created the Anglo-Persian Oil Company, later British Petroleum, or BP. By 1914, Winston Churchill, then First Lord of the Admiralty, converted the entire British Royal Navy from coal to oil. Iranian oil did not just fuel cars, it fueled an empire. Now we jump to 1941. Reza Shah Pahlavi, who had been trying to modernize Iran, is forced to abdicate by the British and Soviets who occupy the country. His son, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, becomes Shah, a king with strings attached. And those strings were pulled from London and Washington. By the late 1940s, Iran was getting 16% of oil profits while the British government and BP were getting rich. 16%. Meanwhile, Iranian oil workers lived in shacks without running water. The British oil executives lived in mansions behind barbed wire fences. This was not business. This was extraction. Enter Mohammad Mossadegh, born in 1882 to a prominent family, educated in Paris and Switzerland. A man who wore pajamas to parliament because he claimed he was too sick to wear suits, but probably because he knew it drove the British crazy. Mossadegh was not a communist. He was not an Islamist. He was a constitutional nationalist. His demand was simple: Iran's oil should belong to Iranians. In 1951, the Iranian parliament, the Majlis, voted to nationalize the oil industry. The vote was unanimous. Mossadegh became prime minister. March 1951. The National Iranian Oil Company is created. Iranian oil is now Iranian property. The British response was immediate. They froze Iranian assets. They imposed a naval blockade. They took Iran to the International Court of Justice at The Hague, and they lost. The court ruled Iran had the right to nationalize. So the British turned to Plan B. Winston Churchill, back as prime minister, did not care about international law. He cared about the 200,000 barrels of oil flowing daily from Iran to British refineries. He turned to his American allies. And in Washington, a new president was listening. Dwight D. Eisenhower, sworn in January 1953. His Secretary of State was John Foster Dulles. His CIA director was Allen Dulles. The Dulles brothers had represented United Fruit Company and Standard Oil. They understood what nationalization meant. It was contagious. If Iran got away with it, Guatemala might try. Then Indonesia. Then the whole third world. Kermit Roosevelt Jr., yes, grandson of Teddy Roosevelt, led Operation Ajax from the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. The budget was just $1 million. The goal was to overthrow a government. The plan was psychological warfare first. Roosevelt's team hired Tehran's street gangs. They printed fake communist newspapers attacking Mossadegh. They spread rumors that Mossadegh was Jewish or atheist or a British agent, whatever would turn people against him. They bribed newspapers, politicians, religious leaders. August 15th, 1953. The first coup attempt fails. Mossadegh arrests the coup plotters. The Shah flees to Baghdad, then Rome. He is sitting in a hotel room, ready to give up, when Kermit Roosevelt sends a message. Keep fighting. We are not done. August 19th. Roosevelt's paid mobs hit the streets. They storm government buildings. General Fazlollah Zahedi, who had been hiding in a CIA safe house, emerges as the new prime minister. Mossadegh's house is attacked with tanks. He surrenders. The Shah returns. On August 22nd, he lands in Tehran on a plane provided by the U.S. government. The cost of the coup was about $60,000 in bribes. The result was 26 years of dictatorship. And the oil? A new consortium is formed. Iranian oil is denationalized. British Petroleum gets 40%. American companies Gulf Mobil, Standard Oil of New Jersey, Texaco, get another 40%. Royal Dutch Shell gets 14%. And Iran? Iran gets 50% of profits on paper. In reality, the consortium controlled everything. From 1953 to 1979, Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi ruled with an iron fist. His secret police, SAVAK, trained by the CIA and Mossad, tortured and killed thousands. Political parties were banned. The press was censored. But he was our dictator. Washington sold him weapons. Lots of weapons. By 1977, Iran had the largest military in the Middle East. F-14 Tomcats, M-60 tanks, billions in American hardware. The Shah spent oil money on vanity projects. The Persepolis celebrations in 1971 cost $100 million while villagers starved. But resistance grew. Communists in the Tudeh Party, nationalists in the National Front, and most dangerously, religious leaders in the mosques. Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, exiled in 1964, became the symbol of opposition from his base in Najaf, Iraq, 1978. Everything exploded. The Cinema Rex fire in Abadan, hundreds burned alive, blamed on SAVAK. Black Friday, September 8th, troops fired on protesters in Jaleh Square, killing hundreds. The Shah declared martial law. It was too late. January 16, 1979, the Shah leaves Iran. He says he is feeling tired. He never returns. February 1st, Khomeini returns to a crowd of millions. April 1st, the Islamic Republic is declared by referendum. The US lost its puppet, and they never forgave it. Now here is where it gets interesting. Because what happened in Iran did not stay in Iran. It became a template, and Venezuela knows this story better than anyone. January 1st, 1976. Venezuela nationalizes its oil industry, creating PDVSA. But unlike Iran in 1953, Venezuela had regional power. The US could not coup them immediately. So they waited, and they used a different weapon, sanctions. 999. Hugo Chavez is elected. He rewrites the oil laws. PDVSA profits must fund social programs. The US response? A coup attempt in 2002, backed by Washington, failed in 48 hours when the people brought Chavez back. Then sanctions. Then more sanctions. Then the oil price crash of 2014, engineered by Saudi overproduction at US request. In 2018, Nicolas Maduro is re-elected. The US does not recognize it. January 2019, Juan Guaido declares himself president in a Caracas street corner. Mike Pence had called him the night before to promise US support. The weaponization of sanctions has destroyed Venezuela's economy. Inflation hit 1 million%. 5 million people fled. And the oil? It is still there, waiting for Exxon and Chevron to return. Sound familiar? Iran has been under US sanctions since 1979, the maximum pressure campaign of 2018, when Trump tore up the nuclear deal, was designed to collapse Iran's economy until they begged for mercy. The goal is not nuclear non-proliferation. Iran was complying with the JCPOA. The International Atomic Energy Agency confirmed it 10 times. But Washington's game is only half the story. For Israel, this is different. For Israel, this is theological. The Temple Mount, Haram al-Sharif to Muslims, is a 35-acre compound in East Jerusalem. At its center, the Dome of the Rock, built in 691 CE, the Al-Aqsa Mosque, Islam's third holiest site for Jewish fundamentalists. This is the site of the first temple, built by Solomon, destroyed by Babylon in 586 BCE. The second temple, built after the return from exile, destroyed by Rome in 70 CE. For 2 millennia, Jews prayed at the western wall, the retaining wall of the temple platform, not on the mount itself. Religious law forbade it. The mount was too holy to tread upon. But in 1967, Israel captured East Jerusalem, and a movement began. The Temple Mount Faithful, the Temple Institute. They want to build a third temple, not a metaphor, a physical building, where the Dome of the Rock stands now. This is not fringe anymore. In 2023, Israeli National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir, convicted of incitement and support for a terrorist organization, led raids on Al-Aqsa. Settler groups conduct practice Passover sacrifices nearby. The red heifer, a cow required for temple purification rituals, was imported from Texas in 2022. Why does Iran matter to this? Because Iran is the main military backer of groups that resist this. Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, though the relationship is complicated. The axis of resistance. Iran's leaders regularly warn that any attack on Al-Aqsa will trigger regional war. For Netanyahu's government, destroying Iran's capabilities is not just about nuclear weapons. It is about removing the last obstacle to complete Israeli dominance and make Greater Israel, which is map displayed on their IDF uniform as current Israel, Qatar, Lebanon, Kuwait, Jordan, Syria, and some parts of Saudi Arabia. If Iran falls, Hezbollah is cut off. Syria is broken. The Palestinians have no regional support. And the Temple Mount? It becomes negotiable. 2024. The shadow war went hot. Israeli assassinations of Iranian scientists. Iranian missile strikes on Israeli positions. The October 7th attack by Hamas, however you judge it, changed the equation. Israel's response in Gaza, over 40,000 dead by official counts, likely far more, has been supported unconditionally by Washington. And now, the drumbeats for direct war. Why? Look at the map. Iran sits between the Persian Gulf and the Caspian Sea. The Strait of Hormuz, through which 20% of world's oil passes. China gets most of its energy from here. India, Japan, Europe control Iran, and you control the energy jugular of Asia. Just like Churchill understood in 1914, just like Roosevelt understood in 1953. The weapons change. The empire changes. The game does not. Israel wants security through dominance. America wants control through chaos. And Iran wants what Mossadegh wanted in 1951: sovereignty, the right to sell their own resources, set their own policies, choose their own friends, whether Russia, China, or anyone else. So when you hear about Iranian aggression, remember August 19, 1953. When you hear about destabilizing behavior, remember who installed the Shah's torture chambers. When you hear about nuclear threats, remember that Israel has had atomic bombs since the 1960s. Undeclared, uninspected, unquestioned. This is not about good guys and bad guys. It is about oil. It is about empire. And for some, it is about ancient prophecies that require war to fulfill. The Iranian people, like the Venezuelan people, like all people, deserve to choose their own future without sanctions that starve children, without coups that crush democracy, without wars that burn cities. That was true in 1953. It is true now. The question is not whether Iran is perfect. It is whether the alternative, more war, more domination, more destruction of international law, makes anyone safer. History says no. History says the coup led to revolution. The revolution led to isolation. The isolation leads to conflict, and around it goes. In 2026, US and Israel attacked Iran in the middle of negotiation. Shows US and Israel has no respect for international law. Unless we learn. Unless we stop the machine. The same machine that ate Guatemala in 1954, that ate Congo in 1961, that ate Chile in 1973, that ate Iraq in 2003, that ate Libya in 2011, that is eating Yemen now. The file is open. The pattern is clear. The only question is whether we will be the generation that finally closes it.